What's up? This is Chris Badgett from LifterLMS, and you know what day it is? Today is Feature Friday, and we're going to be going over a feature in LifterLMS that you may not know about or may not know how to use to its full power. This particular Feature Friday video is going to be long. We're going to go over the settings inside the LaunchPad theme and how to get the most out of the #1 theme for LifterLMS, where you can customize and modify the design of your whole website and all the LifterLMS pieces without having to write code. So we're looking at a demo site here with the LifterLMS Launchpad theme installed. You can see we have 9 or so courses here, and I'm going to jump over into the back end here. And we're going to look at where the Launchpad settings are. So the first thing you need to do is go over here down to Appearance and then Launchpad. Right inside here is where there's hundreds of settings that you can play with. So I'm going to go through all of these in this video so that you know what's possible. I'm not going to demo every single one on the front end about what it does, but I'm going to explain what all of these settings do. So to start off, we have a menu over here: header, footer, layout, typography, and so on. Each one of these areas has lots of options inside of there. So we're going to take it from the top and we're going to work all the way through to the bottom. So the header is the very top of the website. This is the header where the logo is and the menu up in here. So what kind of settings do we have here? We can upload a logo. Our logo is currently white with a transparent background. That's why you can't see it there. We can set the logo width. We're not displaying the tagline. Websites have a site name and tagline over in the WordPress general settings right here. We can do a site title font color. If you do not upload a logo, it will display your site title, the name you give your website, in a font. And you can change the colors of that as well. And the main menu here, which is over here, right now we have it set for a menu color that's blue, and then another shade of blue for the hover. And then there's the sub menu. So this particular website does not have sub menu items, but a sub menu is when you hover over a menu item and there's more links that show up below it. That is a sub menu. And those have their own colors, that, you know, the color itself, the color of the hover, which means when the mouse is on top of it, or the cursor, this little thing right here. You've got the background of the submenu color, and you've got the you can have a hover color of the background of the submenu as well, and there's also a border. That submenu can have a width of 1 pixel or 0, meaning no border. And you can also change the font sizes. So we're going to change this from 14 to 18. And let's see what that looks like. So you can see our menu items just got bigger there. So we can also change the font weight. This is how thick the lines are. So if we wanted skinny typography, we would do 100. Right now, this is kind of average at 500. The distance between the menu items. If you would like to spread these out more, you can increase the number in here. And this is just something that you play with until you get it how you want it to look. The mobile menu. When this site is viewed on a mobile device, the menu can't fit there, so it comes down, squeezes down, and it has kind of a different design. That's where you can play with that. You can make the font size smaller on mobile if you want, and give the menu font a different color, and then the background color when somebody opens the drawer that has the menu in it. Then there is the header layout. We're in the standard header left or logo left, menu right situation. Most people, at least not in right to left language countries, they start with the logo over here and then they read it over to, okay, I know where I am, now where should I go? And so the menu's this way, but you can also flip that around if you want to. You can change how much area is set aside for the logo versus the menu. If you want the logo on top of the menu, you do this logo 100%, navigation 100%. Then the logo will display at the top, in the middle, and then the navigation will be below. So we can move the logo around. Like if we wanted to push this down, we could put some numbers in there. If we wanted to get the menu centered, since I changed the font size, it's not as centered anymore. So I could start playing around with numbers in there. Padding is another way to just play with the position of something. There's padding and margin. Padding is kind of like extra space inside the header, whereas margin is like distance outside of whatever that container is. So right now we have it set to a top padding of 40 pixels and a bottom padding of 30 pixels. So there's 40 pixels of padding up here, 30 pixels of padding down there. So if we go to the site header background, you can upload a background image. We're just using a solid color, this color right down here. But this could be a bunch of trees or a picture of you or all kinds of other stuff. Could be back there if you use a background image, and you can position it. That's what these settings are for. And you can also make it repeat, which is common if you're using like a texture, like some kind of subtle pattern, if you will. All right, so that's all the header options. And let's look at the footer. So in LifterLMS, there's the footer and the site info area. So if we scroll down to the bottom here, this area right here is the footer. You can see we've got 3 widgets in here. A recent post widget, a text widget, and another text widget with some links here. And then this area at the bottom is the site info area. Usually there's like a copyright or a terms and conditions link or something like that down here at the very bottom of a website. So for the footer styling, we have a background color, a font color, the title of the widget color. So like these are the titles right in here. And we have link colors. Sometimes like footers are dark and the backgrounds are dark, whereas the content is light. So your footer, you might want to kind of have the links be a little different depending upon the darkness of the background. So just something to keep in mind. And again, we have padding stuff here. So if we want to, provide more quote white space above, below, left, right, we can play around with the padding settings. The site info styling, again, that's that strip at the very bottom. That horizontal strip has a background color, a font color, a link color, and a link hover color. And again, you can play with the padding. And you actually enter the text that goes in there right here through this editor right here. So that is the footer. Now let's look at layout. It's important to keep in mind that LaunchPad is a theme for a website. It's made for LifterLMS, but it also works just as a general WordPress theme for a website, adding general design to a website. So some of these settings are more general in nature. Some of them are related to LifterLMS, some aren't. So you can change the width of the site. This website is set at 1260 pixels across. That means this width right here of the content area is 1260 pixels wide. There's margin at the top, and there's there's margin at the bottom of the site as well. So you can have a default layout of right sidebar, left sidebar, 2 sidebars, or no sidebar. You can, on the blog, a lot of people like to have a right sidebar or no sidebar. And the courses and the memberships can also have a default layout that you can select. A lot of people go with the right sidebar so that they can have the course progress and syllabus widget over there. Whereas on the membership, they may go full width for that. So play around with it and choose the type of layout you would like. Now over here in typography, this pulls in Google fonts. So there's the body font, the headings font, and the main menu font. So you can choose from over 600 Google fonts here. So if we look at this is the main menu. We can have a font here. This is an example of a heading font, and this is a body font right here. So you can play around with that. If you're new to typography, it can be a little overwhelming. A good place to start is just to Google web font combinations, and you'll see some cool examples of fonts that are cool to match. Yeah, just make sure it's readable and looks good on all devices. So here's where you can play around with the size. The title font is what's there if you don't use a logo. But then in web design, there's these different heading sizes which are used in various parts of the website where you can select the size. And then paragraph is like the regular body content. And then the list font is like when you have bullets or a numbered list. Font colors, there's a main text color, and then you've got your heading colors. So I personally like to stay away from true all black, which is £000, and go with, there's a lot you can do with grays and what have you, but this is where you play around with the heading font colors and also just the regular main website font colors. Breadcrumbs, if you turn this on, let's save that, see what it looks like. It adds, let's see, there it is. It's starting to show up here. There's a, it's like another menu that shows up here showing you like how you got to where you are. I think it's white on white right now, so you can't really see it, but that's what a breadcrumb area is. It's helpful if you have like a gigantic site with like 700 courses in it, but for most people it makes sense to turn that off. And then there's like you can put a slash between the various pages and whatnot. So I'm going to save that without breadcrumbs on. Links and buttons. This is a great place to add a lot of design quickly. I recommend, perhaps having the same decision for links as buttons. So we're using the blue here, two-tone, one link color, and then a link hover color. You can see we're doing the same thing with a button, which has a few more things like the background color, the font color. In this case, it's white. And we have a slight change of the font color on the hover as well for the buttons. Buttons can also have padding, the space around the buttons. Like this is a button right here, but that's kind of more a normal WordPress button. If we head over to here, you can see here's some kind of tertiary buttons. The continue button, or the secondary button. This is a primary button right here, this blue button right here. And yeah, that's the basics on buttons. And then there's a secondary button, which right now is just pulling the defaults because we haven't set anything up here, which is a gray. And that's what we were seeing over here on the catalog. These buttons over here that don't have any styles selected yet. So that's all about buttons and links. Then let's head on over to the LifterLMS account. So this is the account, the student dashboard. Over here, there's all kinds of stuff you can do. We're logged in, so we're not seeing the sign in and registration. That's what displays on this page. If we were tried to view this page, clicked on the My Courses page, and we weren't logged in, you can put the login and the register form side by side if you want. It says, what do you want to learn today? Right here. You can change that message if you want. Account navigation. Right now we've got those centered. So that's all these links right here. This is the account navigation. If we wanted to play around with that, change the margin, the distance left, right, top, bottom. We can play with the margin and the padding there. We could change the link colors or of the navigation if we want to do something different than the blue that we've got. We can even put a border around that navigation area if we want. We can put a border radius is putting rounded corners. So we could put, rounded corners on that. You can see how we have a dot as a navigation link separator. You can see there's a little floating dot here as the separator, as it's known. So that's what that's all about. The account section defaults. This is like the courses. This is the achievement badges, certificates, my memberships. These are the various sections. So we have some default settings here. What title font? What do we want the alignment of those titles? Again, margin and padding in terms of spacing. And we can put a background color around that. Right now we're doing a very simple layout, but if you want to get fancy, you can start putting background colors around your sections and borders and rounded corners if you want. That's what this is. And then you can even work on each area individually. Like maybe you want to change the title of my courses to my classes or my workshops or something different. You can do that right here, and then you can change the color. And same with all these areas and the certificates. You could change it to my awards. Instead of achievements, you might say my badges or my prizes or whatever. And my memberships, you could change that as well. So that's what that's all about. If we go to the course, this is course page right here. So a lot going on here. So we've got the course title, where you can see a font size and a color there. We can do the font weight, course image. We can not display the featured image on the course page. So let's look at some of those. This is the featured image. If you don't want this showing up on the course page, but you do want it showing up on the tile like this, that's what that setting's about. This is the course title. And, we were looking at the weight if we want to make that title skinnier or fatter or whatever. Course progress, we've got our progress bar over here. It shows up in various places. You can change the color of the background of the bar, the color it fills up with as progress is completed. We've got the course meta information, which is right down here, this stuff. So we can play around with, the title of the area, the margins, the spacing, the colors, the font size there. Course syllabus is this area down here. This is the main syllabus on the course page. So you can change the alignment on that. You can change the title font size and color. The lesson preview tiles also have settings that you can mess with. So there's a lot in there, and I'm going to show you what those are. So we're inside of a lesson here. These are the preview tiles. So you can start playing with those in LaunchPad if you want. And there's really a lot in there. We've also got the lesson complete icon. We've got the check circle. So that is over here. And these tiles or these lesson preview tiles, you can do a lot of settings around here, all kinds of stuff. Font color, how big is the excerpt, the border radius, do I want rounded corners, margins, how big do I want the title to be, how do I want it positioned, I can add a drop shadow to it if I want to. There's all kinds of settings for that one. Let's see what else we have here. Yep, so that's our icon, lesson complete icon. And now if we go to the pricing tables, I think I need to log out to show you these. Let me actually open an incognito window here. And now if I look at the course, you can see these pricing tables are here. I've got 3 access plans sent up here. And if I want to play with the settings for those pricing tables, access plans have a background and a text color. You can see that over here, background, text color. Featured access plans can have a different background color. We haven't featured a plan, but that would mean like a pink border would show up around here and it would say featured if I wanted to highlight this particular access plan. And you can control the size of that border. Access plan titles, that is this area over here. So you can see it's a blue background with white font. That is what this is all about. Prices, they have a color and a font size. Access plan stamps, there's certain stamps that show up on access plans. For example, if it's on sale, and those have like a little, it's like a little, sort of like a little button looking thing that has a background color and some words on it. And then there is the access plan buttons, which are right here. So they just like, you can change these. You can have a big orange button if you want. And yeah, there's a lot you can do with the pricing tables. If you don't like the way they look out of the box, you can customize it without having to write custom code. Then there's the catalogs. So LifterLMS courses, just like kind of like blog posts, there's like a blog page where you can see little bits of each blog post. The blog archive, it's called. This is the course archive or catalog. Memberships also have a catalog. Memberships. Let's see if I have any memberships set up here. I don't have any membership set up, so in this particular site, but they look the same in that it has a featured image, a title, a creator, and so on. So this is the catalog. Featured image, title, who made it, some of the metadata is here. So let's look at our settings. So we could do a 4-column catalog if we wanted to and switch that up. Let's see what that looks like. See? Now we've got 4 rows of courses. And we can change the background colors, the hover colors. Like if we want these to kind of light up and be a different color, we can do all that in the LaunchPad settings. We can put borders on them. We can put padding on them. We can round the corners. We can put shadows behind it. That's what all this is about. We can change the alignment of the titles. The catalog item footer styling. That is this area where the words are, the bottom. There's all kinds of padding and margin you can put in there. You can put a border around that. Even the title, you can do stuff too. The catalog title has options. So if you want these title items to do stuff differently than the defaults, you can modify that in terms of like hover colors or font color and how big it is. You can see here we have a font size of 20 and the spacing. And then the meta styling, again, we have padding, font color, and size. That's this information down here. You can change the design of that if you want. And this is going to apply to courses and memberships when you do those catalog changes. LifterLMS checkout is this. So you can see how we've got a border color. We can put rounded corners on the checkout form, the background color, the checkout title font size. So if we go back to our site where we're not logged in, this particular membership, which costs $400,000 a month for 3 months, those settings are to play with this. We can adjust this, we can adjust the border color, this background color, all kinds of settings around the checkout form. That's what that's all about. And then over here in advanced, there's some hidden features here as well. You can sometimes, the whole point of LifterLMS LaunchPad theme is to give non-developers an easy way to modify the design without having to hire a developer or be a computer programmer and having to write code. That comes with a lot of options, so it takes a while to learn how to use all these options, and you don't necessarily have to set every option. But if you want to try to adjust something without having to write code, that's what this theme is great for. If you do end up getting some custom code, some custom CSS code to change the design to do something that LaunchPad doesn't give you an option for, or it's just some customization. One of the things web designers, developers do is they write CSS code to change the design. If you ever need to add some of that code to your website and you want it to be protected as future versions of LaunchPad update and are released, you want to drop it here so it will keep it separate, so that CSS code is future-proof and protected and doesn't get overwritten when you update the theme. Custom JavaScript code can go here, and in the footer can go here. Sometimes, for example, like for a tracking pixel of some kind, they might give you some JavaScript code and say, go put this in the footer. Well, this is how you can do that without having to hire a web developer to do it for you. And you can also, if you really like your site, and let's say you're prolific and you make a lot of LifterLMS sites and you want to save this particular configuration, because it takes some time to set up LaunchPad the way you want, you can click this button to generate an export, and then you just copy all that mumbo jumbo that's in there. Just copy that and go over to your other website, and then you can import that, and then within just a moment you'll have the exact same design on that other website. And in LifterLMS Pro in the graphics pack, we have some LaunchPad settings that you can import. So that's what that's all about. That's how to do that. And be very careful about clicking this reset options thing down here, because you don't want to lose all the changes you made, but that's what that's for. If you want to just burn it down and start over and go to the default LaunchPad settings, that is what that reset options is all about. So if you're just adding, custom CSS code or whatever, just click the save changes there. All right. So that concludes this Feature Friday tour of LaunchPad. LifterLMS works with any well-coded WordPress theme. A lot of people like to combine LaunchPad with a page builder like Beaver Builder, or just use it by itself. It's a great theme. It's powerful. It's not just for Lifter, but for an entire WordPress website. If you have any questions about LifterLMS LaunchPad, just let us know. You can also try it out with the 30-day demo that's on the main LifterLMS.com if you want. And that's it for this Feature Friday. I hope you have a great rest of your day.